Hey everyone, Crazy Jimmy here. Got a cool video for you. I had a three-part series with my 7-inch collection, and now I'm going to do a one-part. Should be able to get this in one part of my 10-inch collection. So yes, I collect 10 inches as well, as long as I love the artist and want that particular record. I don't mind that it's a 10-inch. I've even collected 10 inches that were original pressings, which I'll have an example or two in here. So no further ado, why don't we just get rolling into it, because we got a pretty big box here. All right, starting off, first one, it's probably going to be all in alphabetical order. We've got Arnold, cool UK band, the Barn Tapes. I haven't listened to this in forever, but from what I remember, it's really good Brit pop with a little, what can I say? Maybe they remind me a little bit of like a mixture of like Elbow, Early Mart, a little Blur thrown in there in the blender, but really cool. And this is the Barn Tapes are, I believe, some demos and 4-track recordings that they did. So check that out. It's pretty cool. This is, speaking of original pressings, I believe this is the original pressing of Joe Jackson's seminal album, Look Sharp. And it was a 10-inch that was released in a gatefold like this, and it has a button behind this sticker. So pretty cool. This was also released in 12-inch size, kind of similar to what Radiohead did with Kid A and Amnesiac as well. They ended up eventually releasing 12 inches, but I'm pretty sure this is the actual original pressing of this. But I'm sure people will correct me if I'm wrong on that, but it's still sealed. I probably will never open it. It's more just for the collection. All right, I'm going to have to try to speed things up a little here because I have a ton of them. All right, next up is, this is Beatnik Film Stars. Really good 4-track bedroom lo-fi indie rock out of the UK, I believe. And I was into everything they were releasing back then, so pretty cool stuff. We've got, next up is Beck. This is, which one is this? This is Western Harvest Field by Moonlight. Right there, and this is the second pressing. I believe there's an original pressing with like finger painted labels, and this is not it. So, but yeah, pretty cool. Happy to have that. Next up, another 90s lo-fi bedroom indie pop artist, Bike Ride, which is really Joe. I think his name's Joey Carbone, but calls himself Bike Ride. Everything Bike Ride put out in the 90s, I loved. I was all over it. Clearly, Carbone loves the Beach Boys, so a lot of what the Beach Boys were doing on Friends and Sunflower and stuff was kind of duplicated here, but not a direct copy. It's just lo-fi indie pop done right. Bike Ride. Some really great tracks on here too. That will last me forever. So. Super Friends, this is I think they had a couple 10 inches. This is from 96. I don't know what the name, I can't read the name of this one. I apologize because I don't have my glasses. But yeah, there is a name of this one, but that's what it looks like. Super Friends are out of Canada. So if you love Sloan, I think you'll love Super Friends. Maybe Super Friends were a little more punkier than Sloan, but still some really good power pop here out of Canada. Bike Ride again. This is my favorite Bike Ride 10-inch. This has amazing tracks like Handlebars. The last track on here is just amazing. Really cool ballad. Carl Wilson Suite is cool. Jennifer. I mean, everything on here is great. There's Carbone there, probably with his father. Or maybe an uncle, but cool Italian family. Kind of reminds me of my own Italian family. All right, next up is, this is Brand New. I love Brand New. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. So this is the die cut 10-inch that they did back in 2016, I want to say. But yeah. Whoa. Sorry. Here I am throwing them around. Next up is Bug Skull. I'm a huge Bug Skull guy. I used to have all the cassettes and everything. I did get rid of a bunch of those already, but because I just don't. I have a way to play cassettes, but I just don't play them anymore. But yeah, this has 3 great tracks. One of them's like 10 minutes long. But don't let that fool you. This is just great. Lo-fi, 4-track, indie pop, indie rock. Done the Bug Skull way. Sean, I think his name was Sean Byrne. And they're out of, I want to say Seattle area, maybe Oregon, around there. But I love everything Bug Skull did. And they certainly reinvented themselves over time into like a really cool electro-pop band. But I dig all their incarnations. Next up, Campfire Girls. Don't have tons of memory on this. I think I remember it sounded a little bit like Nirvana, but more done like on a 4-track. So a little heavier, really good power pop from the 90s. Check out Campfire Girls. Comet. I had like a period in the 90s where I got into space rock, and Comet was, one of those bands that I really dug. And they did not put out much on vinyl, but this is one of them. And then they put out some 7-inches as well. I think I have one full-length player on vinyl as well. But this is a great EP by Comet. Great 90s space rock band. Corner Shop. I really dug Corner Shop with their... I believe they were from India, but... they just put out some really good lo-fi indie pop in the 90s, and I think even the late 80s as well when they got started. I think this is their first one, Lock, Stock, and Double Barrel. They were a little more raw for this one, and then they got refined for the radio and MTV. Dump. Good old Dump. This is James McNew from Yo La Tengo. And he did his little side project, called it Dump. Really good 4-track. Kind of similar to Yellow Tango, but maybe a little more poppy and less on the Velvet Underground side of things. But yeah, Dump. James McNew from Yellow Tango. Next up, really cool band. I think these guys were out of Denmark. I don't really remember, but 18th Die. This is Crayon, really good EP, just great. It's really noisy, it's angular. It's not math rock, but it's angular and noisy. Some feedback in there as well, but really poppy at the same time. And here is another 10-inch I picked up from them called Done. Very similar style that I just described. Of course, The Fall, Slates by The Fall. This is probably my favorite piece of music that they did. I know a lot of you will say blasphemy, it's like blasphemy for that, but I mean, the songs on here are great. I have a lot of other Fall LPs that I love as well, but this is probably my favorite piece that they did. I want to say this was like from the early 90s. I apologize if I missed that, but there's the label. Pretty cool. This one I don't know much about yet. I got to listen to it. I think it's signed as well, but this is Spectrum, 14th Century, performed by Final Fantasy. I guess the band is Final Fantasy. And you can see it's signed with a little doodle there. But yeah, I don't much to say on this one yet, but I picked it up for like $1, so I was happy to get that, because I just picked it up because I liked the cover at the time, so... this is really cool. This is the Shins before they were the Shins, called Flake, and then they changed their name to like Flake. They were Flake Music, then Flake, or Flake and then Flake Music, and then became the Shins. This is the Spork EP. This is ultra rare. I don't think that many were printed of this, maybe 100 pressed, and it's really DIY too. It's got a paste on slick on the front and the back. But yeah, so if you like the Shins, this is very similar, but it's a little harder, a little faster, a little more punky. but it's still got a pop element to it like the Shins. The Sneaker EP by the Flaming Groovies. Really dig this. Great album from the late 60s. I want to say this was like 68 or 68 probably. 69 maybe. But this is the Roy Loney Flaming Groovies before they became a power pop band in the mid 70s. There you go. And speaking of like emo and stuff and pop punk, this is the Format, and this is their EP. You know, this is pretty good early aughts pop and pop punk, but really not very punky at all. But they had a really cool pop element to their what they were doing. I've got both of their albums, full length albums too, Dog Problems, and I think the other one was something Lullabies, but really dig this. And I think this came with like a live DVD as well that I have. You all know I'm a Beachwood Sparks fan, but before it was they were Beachwood Sparks, they were Further, and Further was an indie lo-fi bedroom pop rock type band that was like, you know, the brothers were really into Dinosaur Jr., and it really showed on their first few things. This is from 96. This was after their Sometime Chimes, and there was one even before that I do have on vinyl. I'll show it at some point, but this is a little more poppy and less Dino Jr., so that's why I love it. There's actually an Italian version of this that has bonus tracks on it, which I'm looking for. I've been looking for it in the States for years. It just never comes up. Right, we got some Gorky's Iconic Mincy, which I did a whole video on, so I'll be quick. This is Patio. Super rare. This is their very first release. I think they were like 16 years old. They were all teenagers for this, and I believe they recorded it in they're one of the kids' mother's homes, and she used to come in and tell them to be quiet all the time, and I think you can hear some of that on here. It's pretty cool. And here's another little mini EP, very colorful. They love their Beach Boys, so Gorky's are huge Beach Boys fans. This one, this was a re-release of a very old, from the late 60s, early 70s. This is Phil Greenberg, so pretty cool. Little Americana and folk going on, little acid folk as well. But this is pretty cool. These are all tracks from between 69 and 72. So yeah, if you like Acid Archives type stuff, this is right up your alley here. It's a double, no, it's just one record, but it's in a cool gatefold, and I think only a few hundred of these were pressed. Huge Grifters fan, as you probably all know, but this is the Eureka EP. This is probably my favorite piece that they've ever released, even though I love Crappy New Negative, and I love everything they've done, to be honest, but this is, from front to back, this is the best thing I think they've done. It's got like 6 tracks on it, or maybe 7, but they're all just amazing. So, and I always say this, these guys were around the same time Guided by Voices was around, and they were doing they had this similar sort of sound somewhat, but Guided by Voices were more on the Beatles, Who, and the Kinks side. These guys are more on the Rolling Stones side. It's the best way I can describe it. Got 2 of these because I love this EP so much, and I'm probably going to mispronounce the band name, but the Guillemots. I got one open and one sealed. This is a brilliant EP. That's all I got to say about it. Absolutely brilliant. I think this was like late 90s, maybe early 2000s when this was released, but every track on here is just amazing. And to describe what they sound like would be really hard for me to do. There's just a conglomeration of everything that's good with indie pop of its time. So, but yeah, check it out for sure. Next up is Heat Miser, Yellow Number 5. I love Heat Miser. I loved them when, who was it? Elliott Smith was with them and when he wasn't with them. So, I think Elliott Smith was with him for this, but this is a really good EP from Heat Miser. Really good indie rock of the 90s. And good emo pop punk band, Hello Goodbye. This is their Avocado 10-inch that they put out on vinyl finally, like 5 or 6 years ago. Only 500 were printed on yellow and 500 on green. So this is the yellow. Cliff Hillis, power pop extraordinaire. Never really released a lot on vinyl, but this was, so I had to grab it. Cool EP from Cliff Hillis. You like power pop? This is right up your alley. Speaking of an amazing lo-fi indie band of the 90s, Home, and this is Home 10. That's what the X is for. This is by far my favorite thing that they've done. It's got 7 tracks, and the best time to listen to this is Halloween time. They even have a song called Halloween, which is just brilliant. But yeah, they're from Florida, I think Tampa. Really, really put out a ton of great 7-inches, ton of great albums, ton of great cassettes. Ricky Lee Jones. I'm a huge Ricky Lee Jones guy. I love everything she's done. Saw the QX2 limited virgin vinyl type pressing here, so I jumped on that. But this is her Volcano EP. Really great. If you like best modern artist I can compare her to, by the way, would be Tori Amos. So if you love Tori Amos, you would love Ricky Lee Jones. Maybe even Joni Mitchell, kind of for someone who was before her. The Lilies. I mean, what's there to say? I mean, again, everything they've ever released on this is, on Spin Art, which is, by the way, a label that I just used to buy everything. If it came out in Spin Art, I bought it. But this is Lilies, A Brief History of Amazing Letdowns, phenomenal shoegaze mixture of shoegaze and indie rock, and a little bit of space thrown in for good measure. So yeah, I love what the Lilies were doing. They kind of reinvented themselves into the Kinks. But that's a story for another day. Los Campesinos. This is probably one of the earliest things they did, and this is my favorite thing they did. I think people clump this in with emo, but yeah, it's really good either way. The Low Anthem. This is really good 90s Americana. So it's a little slower than like what Wilco was doing in Whiskey Town, but still great. And if you like Americana, everything the Low Anthem did, I think you'll dig. This is Smart Flesh Extras. This was like a bonus EP that came with my full-length Low Anthem called, I think it was Smart Alec or something. I forgot the name of it, but speaking of pop punk and emo, this is Mayday Parade. Certainly a guilty pleasure of mine. But yeah, brilliant stuff here from Mayday Parade. Tales Told by Dead Friends. I love the emo they were doing. So, R. Stevie Moore. We've got a couple from R. Stevie. We've got Respect, and we've got his version of the Revolver cover. But 2 great EPs from R. Stevie. R. Stevie's just the lo-fi bedroom recorder pioneer that was doing it like well before everyone else back in the late 60s, early 70s, and then started a cassette club, and you probably all know all about R. Stevie Moore, but yeah, I may do like a whole video on what I got from R. Stevie, so stay tuned from that. Love R. Stevie. This is just a cool indie pop 4-tracker, Microcosmic Wonderland by Jim Rayo and his Orange Cake Mix Orchestra. 90s stuff. Right, we got Pavement, Perfect Sound Forever. Great original 10-inch by Pavement. Speaking of space rock, Poem Rocket, really good space rock. I wish they would release their full-length Mea Culpa, I think it's called, or Felix Culpa. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant full-length, but of course this is great too. If you like a mixture of space rock and shoegaze. Right there, Poem Rocket. Police with the hype sticker. This is the 2-record set on 10-inch. I don't know if this was the original press of this and how it came out, but I know they did a 12-inch as well. But of course, got to collect them all, right? It's got a double hype too, which is cool. Johnny Polanski. This guy loved Nirvana, and so he took it to that level, but in his bedroom on 4-track. But really good stuff from the 90s, for sure. And from the 70s, we got Pylon, 70s and 80s, out of Athens, Georgia. Pylon was putting out some pretty good, I'll call it like post-punk, new wave. And speaking of Radiohead from earlier, I've got Kid A. This is an original UK pressing. So you want to make sure when you're looking for an original UK Kid A that everything matches, especially what's written under on the barcode, so you don't get taken, because some people will sell you the European press and call it the UK press, and there's a difference. So you want to keep your eye out for that. And then more Radiohead, Amnesiac. This is the original pressing UK as well. And by the way, if you're wondering how they sound phenomenal. They sound great. I'm a huge fan of this band. These guys worship Jesus and the Mary Chain. The Raveonettes. Love this. This is my favorite thing they've ever done. This is Whip It On. And this is definitely my favorite thing they've done. I think this was released in like early 2000s. Yeah. But yeah, like Jesus and Mary Chain, take that, but take some of the noise out. So these are a little more coherent. How am I putting this? There we go. Rex. This is a really good 90s slowcore, I will call it, band. Rex, R-E-X. But yeah, they did like, they called it, I don't know, slowcore, I guess was the name for what they were doing. But yeah, really good. Really good stuff by Rex. Love the cover too. We got 3 by Roller Skate Skinny, or 4 actually. And I showed their full lengths that I have. So I'll be quick with these. These are 3 10-inches that Roller Skate Skinny released. This is Jimmy Shields. And he is the brother of the other Shields brother that was in My Bloody Valentine. So this is the other brother, Jimmy Shields. This is his band, Roller Skate Skinny, and yeah, they're kind of similar to My Bloody Valentine, but I think this is more aggressive. So like picture a more aggressive My Bloody Valentine, and you'll have Roller Skate Skinny, which I was just obsessed with at the time and still love them. The band Self, they have a few things out on vinyl as well, but yeah, really good 90s indie pop. Kind of similar to like what Beck was doing after his lo-fi period when he got a little more mainstream. All right, a few more to go. Slug. This is really heavy from the 90s, really heavy, sludgy stuff, kind of in the vein of what Rodan was doing, or Rodan. But yeah, I really dug Slug. And the Sneetches. This is good indie jangly pop by the Sneetches, and I think they put some stuff out on Spin Art Records, of course. So this is I'm not going to say the name of it's Star Blank is the name of the EP. All right, next up, Spare Snare. Really good lo-fi 4-track indie pop of the 90s. I loved everything Spare Snare did. Kind of similar like Strapping Field Hands and some of the lo-fi stuff Guided by Voices would put out. Very similar. And this is Starflyer 59. This is plugged. I believe this is all live acoustic, but really good stuff here. I think only like 500 were pressed to this. Good. They were really, they did space rock and shoegaze kind of mixed, mostly space rock in a really good way too. So Starflyer 59 is a huge favorite of mine. Story so far. This is emo pop punk band, but they released this EP with this Bob Marley song and they did such a great job on the Marley song. I forgot the name of the Marley song, but it's on here, and they just redid it in a way that I think is better than the original version. Love in Vain, that's it. I think it's Love in Vain, but yeah, great. Cool to hear a Marley song redone by a pop punk / emo band. The story so far. Strapping Field Hands, we've got In the Pineys, one of my favorite things they put out. And I believe Bob Malloy, the leader of this band, was the owner of either a big record store in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. Either it was Used Kids or I forgot. He owned one of those record stores, those big ones down in Pennsylvania area, or maybe it was Jersey. I'm sure someone will tell me, but yeah, Strapping Field Hands. They're like, they were similar to Guided by Voices and the lo-fi aesthetic from the 90s, but more, throw like a sea shanty, like, shroud over what these guys did. So, one half of the Posies, Ken Stringfellow, and this is, this sounds like Goodbye, one of his EPs. Looks like he's got a ton of makeup on. But yeah, half of the Posies. So it's power pop. You get into that. And the 3 EPs by the Tall Dwarfs. Original pressing. This is pretty cool. There's actually 3 10-inch records in here. But yeah, this is brilliant. This is brilliant stuff from the Tall Dwarfs. Cool New Zealand band. And another cool band, Thinking Fellers, Union Local 282. I've got pretty much everything they've put out. But yeah, great 10-inch from them. Thinking Fellers, how do I describe them? Pretty aggressive, lo-fi, indie rock. But can be aggressive, can be avant-garde at times too, which is cool. And Varnaline, very good indie rock out of the 90s. Love everything they did. They released a 4-track album called Man of Sin, I think it was. I've got like a white pressing of it, and it's just brilliant. Brilliant stuff. And speaking of brilliant, the Webb brothers. Jimmy Webb's kids put this out. And the next one I'm going to show you. This is Liars Club by the Webb brothers. Just they love the Beach Boys and the Beatles, so of course their music kind of had that sound. Very definitely power pop. This is the Webb brothers as well. I Can't Believe You're Gone. There's Jimmy Webb's kids. And last but not least, but with the Webb brothers, Summer People. And we're going to end this 10-inch video with the Queens of Stone Age, Era Vulgaris. And this is, I think this is an original pressing of this, which was released on this 10-inch, like, gatefold. So it's pretty cool. I think it's like a trifold. Love the artwork on here as well. But yeah, this is pretty aggressive, angular indie rock, for sure. But yeah, that's most of my 10 inches. I do have some others floating around here, but that's most of them. Appreciate you watching. I know there's a good variety in there, mostly 90s stuff, but always appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate your comments. And, please sub. It's free to sub, and it does help with the algorithm as well. Even though none of this stuff is monetized anyways, I do it for the love of records and music. So, but thanks for watching. Crazy Jimmy out.